Back in the 1900s, there were three grandfathers of modern psychology: Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, and Alfred Adler. And while Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung ended up being so popular and their theories are now in our heads without us even realizing that they were the ones populating it, Alfred Adler got his theories kind of stolen away from him, and he had a brilliant mind, a brilliant set of theories and of worldviews, which just some of them got completely lost, and I just discovered them recently and I'm very, very intrigued. I believe they can literally change the way and provide you with a very easy way to look at the world. The ways presented by Freud and by Jung are a bit complicated. I mean, they kind of complicate and overcomplicate the situation of life. Life is very complicated anyway, but I really hope that teaching you this way of looking at life from an Adlerian psychology perspective will make your life easier. So essentially, think about your life. You were born in point A and you will die at point B, right? And this is the Freudian, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Freudian way of looking at life. You are born at point A, you die at point B. And in between these points, life is a line of ups and downs. You have periods when you are happy, you have periods when you are sad. You have periods when you are successful, you have periods when you are less successful. And this applies in every single domain of life. Well, let's take this line and think about it from a mathematical perspective. In a line, you can theoretically fit an infinity of dots, of points, right? And this is essentially how Adler viewed it differently, because he didn't view life as a line, but he rather viewed it as a series of dots. So essentially, every single point is a moment of now, because all you have is now. You know this, the past and the future are, like, you can't really modify them. You can't really do anything to change the past and the future. You can only change the now. And then of course, if you change the now, then the future might change as well, but that's another story. You can only do something that will get you results right now. So going back to the mathematical perspective, if you have an infinity of dots, which kind of represent a line, when you zoom out enough, you end up kind of seeing a line, right? But in the Adlerian psychology, this line does not have its points connected. These points are separated and they are only connected if you want to connect them, if you choose to connect them. And this is the key here. You choose to do that. You have a reason to connect those points. You have a reason why, there is a reason why you choose to look back at events that happen in your life. Let's think about trauma, for example. You have trauma and you ended up with social anxiety. You ended up stuttering maybe. Well, what's the reason behind that trauma? You might think now from a Freudian perspective, from a Freudian ideology, that you are stuttering now and you have the social anxiety because you were bullied when you were younger. But if you adopt an Adlerian viewpoint, then your world changes, your perspective shifts essentially. And you end up realizing that the point where you had that bullying event in the past is an independent point, an independent instance of now than the current instance of now, which is that point. So if you detach from it, you realize that it's you who chooses to give it importance, because there are other events in your life where you just ignored them, you've forgotten them already. So this is the first step. You have to realize that you are the one who chooses to give importance and to actually keep your trauma in your life. There is no one making you to do that, but there is a hidden reason, and this is, again, this is a cornerstone of Adlerian psychology. There are two important terms, etiology and teleology. And etiology is the theory that Sigmund Freud was based on, which is cause and effect. And this is what you probably and what everyone thinks around us, that you have the trauma, so you end up stuttering now, so you end up having the social anxiety, so you end up getting angry now. But when you view the world from a teleology perspective, you realize that this doesn't even matter. The bullying event doesn't matter. Only if you give it meaning. only if you care about it, only if you choose to bring it into the present moment, only if you choose to think about it and to put it as a reason to fulfill a hidden goal of yours. So in this case, let's say that you were bullied, so trauma and that bullying event that happened back in the day is important. We don't completely disregard it, but we have to acknowledge that we choose to give it importance. Thinking about it this way, we realize that there is a goal, there is a reason why you choose to have the trauma. The trauma is not dominating you. You are choosing to be dominated by the trauma. You are choosing to let the trauma affect your performance, your output in life, everything. Let's go back to the bullying event that happened back in the day. We don't disregard it, but we realize that we have a hidden goal, a hidden reason why we choose to give it importance. So, in this case, you got bullied, and that bullying sensation was so horrible, such a horrible feeling event, that you came up with the conclusion that you have to find a mechanism, you have to find a system which allows you to never get into that situation again. And that system might have been just starting and punching everyone around you to avoid it. That system might have been starting yelling. But the system that was the closest to you and the easier to implement was probably social anxiety. And disengaging and staying away from human interactions, never truly bonding with someone, because they might bully you, right? So you have to keep a distance between you two. For me, this was a real breakthrough when I realized that it's my choice to hold on to the trauma, and I can just let go of it because I don't really need it in my life anymore. If you view the world from an Adlerian perspective and you realize that this instance of now, right here, right now, is a completely different and independent instance of time than the now that took place back in the day. So every single moment, every single millisecond of the day, you are a new you, and you are able to make decisions for yourself. You are able to draw conclusions for yourself. You are able to decide exactly how you want to act and exist in the world. You can literally do whatever you want with this perspective. So if you're interested in Adlerian psychology, I recommend you read the book The Courage to be Disliked by two Japanese men whose names I can't really remember. Or you can come back to my channel where I will certainly discuss more about Adlerian psychology because it aligns with my view world and my logical way of being perfectly. I really hope this helped you, by the way.